Hey, welcome to SI Now. It is Wednesday, May 17th. I'm Maggie Gray. Robin Lundberg aside me all week long. Our NBA analyst Jordan Schultz is here. We don't have a lot to talk about in terms of actual games because it was a blowout last night and the Warriors won going away. However, the draft lottery was very intriguing, full of some drama. We're going to break down some of the events through what we like to call 3 emoji.
Oh, how cute.
Okay, 3 emojis we're going to assign to everything, and let's kick it off with the Boston Celtics. They had the highest probability of getting the top pick in the NBA draft for this year. They will have the top pick in the NBA draft, but Jordan, if you're Isaiah Thomas and now your team has the top pick and this draft is going to be known for its point guards, what emoji are you thinking about?
So, I don't know. I guess you're thinking about, you're a little confused, but you're also happy. For me, though, if I'm Boston, I'm trading Isaiah Thomas.
Wow.
How about that, Maggie?
No, I think you're right.
How many sub-6-foot point guards are going to win a championship? So he's a little confused. You know, if Allen Iverson couldn't do it, I don't think Isaiah Thomas can do it. Why not go out and trade, get more picks, draft Markelle Fultz or Lonzo Ball or whomever you think is the best point guard in the draft, and build around a big power guard?
This is a thumbs up. Come on, guys. Isaiah Thomas, he's become like a Boston legend here this postseason. And any chance you get to make the team better, he doesn't necessarily have to be the guy always, but he is a guy who can always get buckets. And the way the floor is spread in today's NBA, that quickness is at a premium. So the Celtics going forward, you could at least construct the argument, are in as good a position as any team for the long haul, being good now with this year's pick being number 1, and then with the Nets pick the following year. Speaking of the Nets, which we'll get to in a second, Maggie, your emoji for Isaiah.
My emoji for Isaiah Thomas is the emoji he loves to use the most, which is the side eyes, the sideway glance, because I'm looking over my shoulder now that the Celtics have the top pick. You know that they're going to have a point guard come in, and now I'm wondering, what does my future look like? Am I going to be fighting for my job? Are they going to see if I can slide over a shooting guard, which is going to be tough on the defensive end, very difficult, more difficult than it already is when he's guarding fellow point guards. So if I'm Isaiah Thomas, I'm very concerned about my future. And let's remember, Danny Ainge, he traded a couple other Boston legends and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. He's right there with Bill Belichick. You got to sell high, and Isaiah Thomas's stock will never be higher.
Those guys were old. I can't believe you guys are getting rid of
Great transition, though, because we're going with the Nets, right? That's a good transition.
They were on the losing side.
Right
that was definitely pro.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the Nets go, you know, the KG, anything is possible. Billy King could sort of yell that sarcastically because everybody's thinking that at this moment as the Nets pick goes over to Boston. Jordan, what's the emoji for the Nets?
Just absolute disgust. You're feeling disgusted right now because if you're Billy King, what are you doing right now? Somewhere along the lines, Billy King is thinking to himself, he's crying. And the Brooklyn Nets should be crying, Maggie, because Billy King mortgaged their future. Remember last year, Boston had the 3rd pick Jaylen Brown. This year, they're going to have the number 1 pick because of the swap. Everybody knew in the world, seemingly but Billy King and Mikhail Prokhorov, that when they traded Paul Pierce and Garnett to Brooklyn, their future was ruined, or when they got them, and that's what happened.
Okay, I've actually talked to Billy King about this recently, and he essentially said, we saw a window. We thought we could get the Miami Heat on their heels. We had to go for it, and I'd rather spend my life not wondering what if we hadn't made the trade than I guess seeing what happened, and of course he was sacrificed for it. I'm also, though, off of a little what you said, the crying emoji. Mine's going to be the sick face with the thermometer because I'm in bed right now. I feel so sick to my stomach, and it's really not even because of this year. It's because of next year. Yeah. Boston's also going to get the Nets pick next year, and we do not expect the Nets to be any better than they were a year ago, so that could likely be a top pick as well.
They weren't even close, though. That's the point, Maggie. They weren't even close. They won 1 playoff series. It's just awful. As a Net fan, you think to yourself, here we go again. Next year, you're right. It's going to be even worse.
See, I go with straight-faced emoji because as a Nets fan, I'm actually encouraged. Not by this. This is terrible. But it already happened. And when the new management took over, really, you had to appropriately approach that. You had to basically come out of a bomb shelter and rebuild civilization. And that draft pick was already a sunk cost. It doesn't matter where it landed. That only registers on the embarrassment scale. It doesn't have any actual tangible effect on the franchise.
Okay, so now we know that the LA Lakers will have the 2nd overall pick. And of course, if LeVar Ball is speaking truth to power, he wants Lonzo to be a Los Angeles Lakers. Jordan, what emoji would you give the rumor that Lonzo will only work out for the Los Angeles Lakers?
Well, let me just start by saying, how many times in the history of the NBA, and I went back and looked, did a player only work out for one franchise. It doesn't happen very often. Better yet, even if they do that, they usually don't end up with that franchise. LeVar Ball has been very charismatic, saying, we have to end up basically with LA. I have the next, Magic Johnson here. Don't worry about Rookie of the Year. We're going to be in the NBA playoffs next year. I'm just really confused if I'm a Laker fan. And if I'm LeVar Ball, if I'm Lonzo Ball, I'm disgusted with the fact that I put myself in this position.
Okay, so what's your emoji?
I guess I would be laughing.
Okay.
If I'm a Laker fan, laugh, cry. There you go. Because
you're laughing so hard you're crying.
It's a combination of feeling, like, what are we going to do? You're definitely not happy though if you're Lonzo Ball, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I go with the chin scratching, like, emoji, because this doesn't make much sense. If you're actually trying to be a marketing genius, yeah, it's great if he winds up in LA. I understand. Everybody understands that's where they'd want him. But Lonzo Ball is not LeBron James. He's not somebody that came in with that sort of pedigree. Yes, he's going to go high, but he's not even guaranteed to go to the Lakers at number 2. So this does not seem like a smart marketing move for me.
No, LeVar trying to pull an Archie Manning here and dictate sort of where, his son is going to go. I'm going to give it an eye roll. If you're only going to work out for one team, I mean, give me a break. That's what I'd be saying. If I'm an NBA general manager and I really want to work out Lonzo Ball, I'm going to be giving you just as many millions as the Lakers. I'm going to be on the hook, and we're going to have to deal with LeVar and all the baggage that comes with it. I want you working out for my team. So if I'm looking at this from the outside, sure, I know that the big baller brand wants Lonzo in LA, but if I'm another team, that's not going to prevent me from wanting to work out a prospect who has not played 1 second in the NBA.
But if you're Lonzo Ball, aren't you thinking to yourself now, maybe you wouldn't say it publicly, but you're thinking, here we go again. LeVar's controlling what I'm doing, and, B cubed wins again. Big baller, man. Sorry. I had to get that out there.
If you're LeVar Ball and Lonzo Ball, you just hope that you don't fall to 8th in the New York Knicks, which brings us to Phil Jackson. What would your emoji be for Phil Jackson
I have
watching
a
that?
sick thermometer, because if I'm Phil Jackson, nothing has gone right in New York, okay? Carmelo hasn't worked out, obviously. Their relationship is fractured. Now you have Porzingis being hacked, saying that he didn't really want to be traded. And obviously, none of the ancillary moves have worked either, Maggie. If I'm Phil Jackson, I'm feeling disgusted, but most of all, I'm feeling sick, because only now, this happens to the Knicks. They don't get a good pick. They get 8th because it is the New York Knicks.
Okay, I'm going to let my emoji speak for itself. All right, put my emoji up there. Yeah, poop. Poop emoji. Because everything
it's kind of a triangle.
Since Phil is kind of a triangle. And that's how they've been running the triangle, and it's had the same result. Poop.
Robin with the great point right there. I like that.
Everything that has happened since Phil Jackson has come to New York City has been of the poop variety. I mean, he can't work out anything with a superstar Carmelo Anthony, doubling down, saying that he wants to send Carmelo to a contender. Nothing has gone right. And the fact that Kristaps Porzingis, which is your franchise, the fact that he skipped the exit interview, they're going to have to mend that relationship now. Not a lot of trust there. And listen, I know they're saying this draft is going to have a lot of depth, but you were hoping you'd have to test out that depth around the 6, 7, 8. I mean, they really lost on this one.
I go with the clown face emoji. Ringley's brothers closed. Now the Knicks have taken over. And Phil Jackson, everything good he's done has been by accident, right?
Yeah.
Langston Galloway was their star player. Sure. He said they were going to the playoffs. They wind up getting Porzingis. This year, you're not tanking on purpose when you're bringing in Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, of course. So they wind up with this perfect metaphor for where the Knicks have been, this hamster wheel of mediocrity or worse, where they're not high enough for fans to be celebrating, but they wind up low enough where it's just like, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go from here? And do we trust the people who are making the decision?
Just one last thing to Robin's point. 2 years before he got there, they won 50 games. They have never been good under Phil Jackson. So I look at it exactly like you, a poop triangle, confusion, the clown, all of the above. I like where we're going today.
Okay, the final one that we're going to wrap it up is going to be Adam Silver, of course, the commissioner of the NBA, watching the draft lottery last night. Jordan, what's the emoji?
He's so fired up right now. He can't even believe it. They got Boston, LA, Philly, 3 of their premier franchises, big market, so much. Forget about the whole small markets. We love all our small markets. At the end of the day, this is a big money league, and it's about big markets. And forget about trust the process, whatever you want to say. They got 3 of their premier brands at the top of the lottery. That's a big win for the NBA.
Mine's going to be the thumbs up, because I think that Adam Silver loves this. If you can't get the Knicks to be good and they can't get out of their own way, well, we might as well have the Lakers be great. So that's fantastic. And then going to a little bit with the small markets, the fact that Sacramento gets 2 picks inside the top 10 after losing Boogie Cousins, they have a new arena. These are the sort of political,
wins.
behind-the-scenes things that really matter to commissioners. So Adam Silver, big thumbs up.
I'm with the smiley face, which goes along with the theme here, because not only did the Lakers not lose their pick, which would have been bad, but I also think, yes, it's good Philadelphia and the Northeast are still up there, but I think Adam Silver didn't want to see them rewarded for their whole tanking process, and again, they weren't rewarded in the immediacy.
So a mini reward.
Yeah.
Third pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Consolation.
from the reports, the commissioner had to get involved and get Jerry Colangelo there, and Sam Hinkie, they raised the banner for him last night. The fans did in Philadelphia. Fun stuff. Jordan, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we covered the NBA draft lottery and all of our emotions there. Hopefully, I'm able to inspire some emotions talking about the lottery in the latest Don't At Me, which has a little something to do with the Knicks and Lakers. Super teams, a meaningless regular season, rest, hack a whomever, post-game outfits. All have been frequently stated as big problems for the NBA. But none of these is the league's biggest issue. The NBA's number one problem is that the Knicks and Lakers are in the lottery and not the playoffs. Let's start with the Knicks, the worst franchise in sports. New York is the supposed mecca of basketball, and its basketball team has won one playoff series since I graduated from high school. And they aren't just bad, they're embarrassing. The starting point guard didn't show up for a game. The team president feuded with the star player. The owner had a team legend arrested, and the promising young star got fed up and skipped out on exit meetings all this season. It wasn't going well before Phil Jackson. It's going even worse for Phil and his Triangle Posse now. And unfortunately, the far more prestigious Lakers seem to be taking a crack at becoming Knicks West. From dysfunctional ownership, that whole Buss-Lakers custody battle, down to hiring a big name to win the press conference championship, rather than the most qualified person for the job. Sorry, Magic. Another thing the two teams have in common? They're the only franchises who think they can woo free agents with a recruitment mini-movie rather than a basketball team. Which brings us back to the lottery. The only chance either has of adding a true star player. It's remarkable the NBA has thrived with both of the top two markets being utter trash. They've been able to accelerate with the parking brake on. But imagine having LeBron, the Warriors, and the Knicks and Lakers. The interest would be through the roof. Unless the ceiling is the roof. I'm still confused by all that. But either way, that's the thing the NBA truly needs to eventually challenge the NFL for sports supremacy, which I do think will happen. Just check out my mentions for even mentioning the Knicks and Lakers. Better yet, don't at me.
Christian McCaffrey was the 8th overall pick in the draft by the Carolina Panthers. And while we feel like we know a lot about the Heisman Trophy finalist, there's always more to know. For that, we turn to his high school coach, Brent Wieselmeyer from Valor Christian High School in Highlands Ranch outside of Denver. He's now the safeties coach for the Oakland Raiders. Coach, really appreciate you joining us today. Now, you had to know that McCaffrey would be gone by the time the Raiders were making their selection at 24, but what would it have meant for you to coach McCaffrey in high school and then coach him in the pros?
Oh, it would have been amazing. Christian's a phenomenal football player. It was fun getting to coach him and watch him grow up. You know, I knew him since he was about a 7th grader. So it was really amazing watching him go. And I got to coach him through his junior year. That would have been very special. It would have been a cool experience.
Now, Coach, there's always a lot of talk about the Panthers being a one-cam show, on offense, rightfully so. Does McCaffrey change that? How dangerous a pairing are those two?
Well, I think the thing about Christian is they talk about, what will he play or where will he be? What I know of him is he's a great football player. We tried to keep him when he was a freshman off the varsity for a while, and we used him on some special teams. He kept blocking punts. Then we used him on defense. He was incredible nickel. We used him at receiver. We used him at running back. So however they use him, and they're very, very intelligent. They'll do a great job with him, but he'll be very explosive. He's a great player.
What's going to be the challenge, as any rookie would have? What's going to be his biggest one adapting to the league?
Well, I think, the season's a little bit longer, so typically you'll see some rookies, pan down as the year goes. That's always a challenge. I think just the speed adjustment always is difficult, and then the amount of scheme. Obviously, with the NCAA, there's certain time limits on you, and the NFL, you have quite a bit of time with those guys, and it's a lot involved. But, knowing Christian and how he loves challenges, really embraces it, he should do just fine.
Christian's position coach from Stanford, Lance Taylor, was hired by the Panthers. In what ways do you think it benefits him to have somebody he knows there?
Well, I think anytime you're familiar with somewhere, you're gonna adapt a little bit quicker. And obviously, they know a lot about him. They know what he can do, and really how he can be used. And I think that'll really just speed his progress along, and he'll really make an impact.
Coach, I think a lot of people were surprised when McCaffrey's measurables came in almost identical to Dalvin Cook's at the Combine. Are there other misconceptions about McCaffrey that you think will be cleared up or need to be cleared up?
Oh, the funny thing about Christian is he'll be real quiet, and he'll just let his actions sort of speak for himself. And, he comes from a very competitive family. There's 4 boys in that family. And it's really neat watching them compete. You got Max, the oldest, Dylan, who's going to be at Michigan, and then Luke, who's going to be incredible. Whatever he plays, running back, wide receiver, quarterback, he can sort of do it all. So I think what you have is a very motivated and a highly competitive individual that will just keep, if there's any doubts about him, he'll keep proving them wrong. He loves those kind of challenges.
Okay, so let's keep going off the family theme. Obviously, we know Ed McCaffrey was a great receiver, but if you're being honest with yourself, back at Valor Christian High School, when McCaffrey was a youngster, did you think that he would become a top 10 pick in the NFL?
Well, that's hard to predict when they're that young, but we knew he was special right away because, I touched upon it earlier. We tried to, he was so young, we tried to keep him off the field as a freshman, and he kept finding a way to get on the field, and pretty soon he was our starting tailback as a freshman. And then his sophomore year, he really felt comfortable, and man, he had an incredible year, really record-breaking year for the school and the state, and then it just really went on from there. So he's tough to keep off the field just in any way.
Speaking about that, you knew how good he was back then, right? And some guys are perfect for their time period. For instance, high usage, low post big men in the NBA, I don't think thrive now, and you need mobile big men. I don't think those high usage, straight ahead running backs are as effective in the NFL. Is Christian coming into the NFL at the perfect time because he has that sort of Swiss Army knife skill set?
Well, I think there was a lot of questions when he was coming out of high school, like how would he fit, with the spread offense, going to Stanford, which is a little bit more, they're a little higher power running game. And you look at how he can just adapt within that. I think the game obviously is speed driven, in which he runs well. So he's well adapted to that. And just his multiple skill sets of being able to catch, being able to pass protect, which a lot of people, don't look at. And just the numerous things that he can do. I think it is a great time for him to be in the NFL.
Is there anyone that he compares to, Coach? Is there someone, not to put more pressure on him in any way, but is there someone who's in the NFL now who he reminds you of?
I think he's unique in that. And I think just going back to his family, I think he's got a lot of traits of his dad. And I'd be amiss to say a lot of traits of his mother, who was a phenomenal athlete, who she would tell you is the better athlete of the family. So, I think, he can just do so many things well. It's going to be fun to watch him, grow and develop in the NFL.
Well, we know he can move his feet well. We've all seen the videos of his fast feet on the ladder. What did he do in high school drills or training to develop that quickness? Do you take credit for that?
I wish I could. I think I appointed myself the running back coach at one year just to try to take credit for it. No, all those skills is something he works on tirelessly. He is obviously very gifted, but I think what people don't understand is the amount of work that he put in from day one. His nutrition is something I've never seen. He, every time, when I got to move back to the Bay and we would hang out, it's amazing to watch him eat. He makes me feel guilty every time we go out and eat. Won't eat dessert. I got to get up early and train. So I think those fast feet are a combination of great genes and a lot of hard work.
Well, he's going to have to stay away from that Carolina barbecue, which is going to be difficult for any man, even one with the willpower it sounds like Christian McCaffrey has. Do you have a story, maybe a favorite one that illustrates sort of who he is either as a person or as a football player?
We had a freshman or a retreat, and when he was a freshman, we went up into the mountains and, sort of gave the guys, we didn't do any football for about 3 days. And, I'm walking into this log cabin, we're getting ready to have a meeting, and I hear this incredible song getting played on the piano, and I'm like, who is that? And it's he and one of our defensive linemen, they learned the song the night before. And I'm like, did you ever have piano lessons? He's like, no. Next thing he knows, he picks up a harmonica and starts playing. And I said, do you ever get lessons for this? No, coach, just sort of picked it up as I go. And I think that's really sort of what he's like. Great. He was a great student, great football player. And just anything he does, he's just relentless at and very gifted.
Okay, so he's better at us than football. He has more willpower and discipline when it comes to food, and he's musically inclined.
He plays the harmonica like Neil Young or something.
Yeah, he's an incredible young man.
Crazy. Well, we should talk about the Raiders a little bit because that's where you are right now, Coach. Your safeties coach for the team. Of course, they selected Obi Melifonwu, so you're going to have some help with the free safety position. But the team also selected Gary and Conley, of course, the cornerback from Ohio State. He's under investigation for a rape accusation. Now, I'm just curious if you were surprised that the Raiders took a chance on Conley, or is there information the team has that the general public just does not?
Well, I think with all the draft picks, we just do a good job with doing homework on guys and really, having the background and knowing sort of what's going on. So, Reggie McKenzie does a great job and really knows what kind of people they are, and we do our homework on our draft picks for sure.
What's Conley been like at rookie minicamp?
Phenomenal, great learner, very pick things up very quickly, great feet, and man, he can cover. I tell you what, he's a great football player.
Considering the expectations on the team this season, Coach, does this offseason feel a little bit different from years past that you've been with the Raiders?
Well, I think obviously, just coming off last season, we have great expectations for this year. Guys coming back healthy, having a great draft, and just the maturation process. Obviously, last 2 years we've sort of been building and, really looking forward to sort of taking those next steps, because we are, obviously have some great youth and some great experienced guys too. And we're, really looking forward to putting that all together this year.
All right, fantastic. Brent Wiesel, really appreciate your thoughts, Coach. And, of course, looking forward to get that Derek Carr contract extension done, and then you guys can just be focused in on the season. Appreciate your time, though, and especially your thoughts on Christian McCaffrey. Thank you so much.
All right, have a great day.
Okay, thanks. You too. Very interesting. That's going to do it for us, Robin.
Yep, I'm going to go do some fast feet videos, see if I can beat that time.
Little known fact about Robin Lundberg, he was voted most athletic in the what year of your high school graduation?
2000. I mean, I graduated when Y2K was still a thing, so I'm old now. It was really trash that I got that, but I'll always take it. It's because I flooded the zone. I played a lot of sports.
All right, we're gonna put Robin through our own personal combine going later on this afternoon. We'll report back on that. But thank you for watching SI Now. We'll be back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. That's the time. Stick with SI.com for all the latest news and give us a follow on Twitter @SI Now Live. See you tomorrow.